As a pharmacist, I get asked a ton of questions. But, there's this one question that pops up over and over again. And honestly, finding a good answer for it online is surprisingly tough. So today, let's fix that.
So here it is. Can I use cannabis with my medication? I mean, it seems like a simple question, right? But if you've ever tried to Google it, you know it's a mess. And that leaves millions of us kind of stuck, trying to make safe choices without all the facts.
Oh, and we've all been down that online rabbit hole, haven't we? You type in your question and boom, you're hit with a flood of websites that all say different things, or they just give you half the story. It's more than just frustrating, it's a huge gap in the information we actually need to stay healthy.
Okay, so what is going on here? Why is this one question so hard to answer? Let's take a look at the usual tools people turn to, those online drug checkers, and see why they just fall short.
All right, so here's a real problem, the heart of the issue. Your typical drug checker, it's built to see how one prescription drug plays with another prescription drug. But that's not how real life works, is it? We drink coffee, maybe have a glass of wine with dinner, and for a lot of people, cannabis is just part of their wellness routine. These standard tools, they're completely missing that real-world picture. But what if there was a better way? A tool that was actually designed from the start to fill this exact gap. Well, that's what we're going to dig into next. A totally new approach that starts with the questions real people are asking. So, check this out. Imagine a tool that gets your whole life, not just the list of prescriptions from your pharmacy. That's the big idea behind something called InteractSafe. It's designed to look at the whole shebang. Your meds, sure, but also things like cannabis, alcohol, or even that vitamin C you take every morning. And this wasn't just about making some cool new app. It was about tackling a really serious safety issue. The pharmacists and doctors who created this, they saw that millions of people were basically making these decisions in the dark. They wanted to finally shine a light on it with a reliable source of information.
Okay, let's make this super concrete. We're going to look at a class of drugs that, wow, are they popular right now? The GLP-1s. We're talking about things like Ozempic and Wegovy. We'll see exactly what happens when you try to find good info about using them with cannabis.
Yeah, you've seen the ads, you've heard the names, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. These GLP-1s are a game changer for millions dealing with diabetes and weight loss. But here's the thing that's often missed. Both these meds and cannabis can affect your blood sugar and how your stomach works. So if you combine them without knowing the score, you could be in for some really unpredictable effects. That's a big deal. So you do what anyone would do. You go to your usual drug checker and type in Ozempic and cannabis. And what do you get? Crickets. Often, literally nothing. Or even worse, you get conflicting advice. This is the #1 question people have, and the old school tools just have no answer. So, how does a tool built for this problem handle it? Well, it gives you specific, dedicated guides for each and every one of these medications. It lays out what the clinical data tells us, what it doesn't tell us, and this is key, it arms you with the exact questions you should be asking your doctor. Like, you could go in and ask, hey doc, how will cannabis interact with the delayed stomach emptying that my semaglutide causes? That's a powerful question.
All right, now with every kind of health tool, trust is everything, right? It has to be. So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly where this information comes from and who is checking it to make sure it's accurate and reliable. And this, right here, is the foundation of that trust. Every single piece of safety info is reviewed and signed off on by a registered pharmacist with over 40 years of clinical experience. This isn't just some algorithm spitting out guesses, it's real human expertise. And where does that expert review even start? Well, it starts with the absolute best sources out there. We're talking about data coming straight from the FDA, the National Institutes of Health, and peer-reviewed research from top-tier places like the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins Medicine. And you know what's just as important? It's what's not on the list. You won't find information pulled from commercial health websites, random blogs, or drug company marketing stuff. And definitely no unverified AI-generated content. Everything is traced right back to a primary, unbiased source. Period. Okay, so you've got this awesome, credible information. Now what? What's the next step? Because this isn't about playing doctor or diagnosing yourself. It's about getting you ready to have a much smarter, much more productive conversation with your doctor or pharmacist. Yeah, think of it just like a bridge. It's a 3-step process. First, you do a little research with the tool to get a handle on the potential issues for your specific situation. Second, you prepare. You actually write down your questions based on what you just learned. And third, you discuss. You walk into that appointment and talk openly with your doctor, but this time you're armed with credible information.
And I really have to stress this, not just as the person talking to you now, but as a pharmacist. This is all for educational purposes. It is not a substitute for medical advice. Your body, your health, it's totally unique to you. So please always talk to your physician or your pharmacist before you make any changes to your health routine. Seriously.
So, are you ready to ask smarter questions? Because when you have the right information in your hands, you're not just a passive patient anymore. You become an active partner in your own healthcare. It really is about shifting from guessing to knowing and making the safest possible choices for yourself. Thanks for tuning in.